Alright guys, these are just a couple of small chips. As you can see, I've got, let me get my jacket zipped up here, keep it out of your face. I've got this small chip here. I think you can see it in the mirror better than you can see it on the windshield itself. This is a very small chip, and I need to position my tool where I can still see in the mirror, which is difficult because it's right in the corner where the A-pillar and the roof meet. So I'm hoping that I can get that tool in there perfectly right over the pit and be able to do this repair. Now, I'm standing up on the side of the truck as I always do, leaning against the door, because for me that's just easier than trying to carry around a ladder. We're going to get the windshield's cold, so we're going to use the low viscosity. I said light viscosity in my last video. I'm making a video. If you don't mind being out here when I'm making a video. So we'll get this one fixed first, and then we have another one over there. It's pretty similar to this one. They're almost identical chips, but we want to try to get these as invisible as possible. Now I've got to shade it. I don't have a choice. I need to put the shade on there, but I hope you can see in the mirror what I'm doing here. This is a very difficult repair to do when it's right against the black. You can't get your mirror really in position to see real well, and I hope the camera's in the right position, because let's see if I can lower it a little more for you. There you go. I like you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. I'm just shading it with my hand. The sun is so far south this time of year that it's easy to shade a chip with the hand. I did tell him I don't know if I can make these completely invisible because I'm using the low viscosity resin. Now in my last video I said light viscosity, and that's basically the same thing, but it's low viscosity. That's what the LV stands for. And remember, I only use diamond clear resin. I've tried a bunch of different resins, and this diamond clear resin, you can get it on Amazon. I get it from, or Glass Technologies, you can get it from them too, but it's the same price either way. And the difference is, if I order it on Amazon, it comes overnight, and if I order it through Glass Technologies, it takes 7 to 10 days to get it. So for me, it's the same price either way I go. So for me, it's just better to order it off Amazon, and then all of that is linked in the description as well. I've told you that before. Alright, that one is mostly filled. I see a little air pocket up at the top of it. I have to move my hand away from the shade so I can see that. So we're going to double pressurize that. Got a lot more pressure on it. And then even though the sun's shining on it, like I said, it's winter. So the UV is not nearly as strong. So we're going to cure this under pressure. We want this to be as invisible as possible. It's not going to be 100% invisible. They never are. But I've said it before, the less visible I can make it, the more resin I know I've got in it. So that means a lot. The more resin you get in a chip, the less chance you have of it cracking in the future. And as I've stated, I haven't had a single person tell me that a repair didn't hold, so I'm pretty happy about that. That's a pretty good record. That should be cured enough to take the tool off the windshield now. Somebody asked me why I cover this with a rag when I take it off. It's because I take it off while there's still pressure on it. I don't release the pressure. I want to keep that pressure on there. sometimes I'll release the pressure. It just depends on the chip. Sometimes I'll release the pressure and sometimes I won't. Just depends on the chip. The majority of the time I don't release the pressure. I just leave it on there. Now since we're here, since we're up here already, let's just go ahead and is that on? Yeah. Let's hit this with the light real quick. Get it cured and get this one done so we can get the next one without any issues, without having to come back to this one. So yeah, that looks really good. That's a good repair there. 99% less visible, I'd say. So it's that time of year where my hands get really cold when I'm riding a motorcycle, and when my hands get cold they don't function well because they've been frostbitten. You can see the scarring on my hands from the frostbite. It's plainly visible. You can clearly see my hands are scarred up really bad. I was lucky they saved them. But that was 45 years ago, and my hands have been functioning ever since. Well, it was actually longer than 45 years ago, but it was a long time ago, put it that way. I'm just glad to still have use of my hands, I gotta tell you. This one is finito. That one turned out nice. That one turned out real good. Let's get that wiped off real good there. Now, we don't have to have the door open anymore. Yeah, that's beautiful. I don't know if you can see that. That's a beautiful repair. Excellent. All right. Now we close this door. Now I'm always leery of doors wanting to lock themselves. Let's throw this tape in the trash. So I always want to keep a door partially open because I need to be able to get my mirrors out of there. Now we have another one right here. These are small chips, but I did tell you at one point that I was going to end up doing some minor repairs, putting those on video, because not everybody's going to do those massive nasty repairs that I do. Some of you are just going to do chips like this, and you're not going to want to take on those nasty, big, nasty, cracked, you know, those giant chips that I do. You'd make a good reputation for yourself for doing those kind of repairs, though, if you did them, because I get a lot more business being able to repair chips like that than other companies that just want to replace the windshield because they don't know how, or they can't repair them, or you know, or they just don't want to take the time. And honestly, in my personal opinion, I think that a lot of companies that do windshield replacements and offer windshield repairs are, I believe, it's my opinion, I think it's a conflict of interest. Because if you have the opportunity to convince somebody to replace their windshield and you can make more money on that, then you tend to lean towards saying, oh no, we can't do that repair, that windshield needs to be replaced, instead of just attempting to do the repair. Whereas me, this is all I do. I don't replace windshields. I've had companies offer to partner with me. In other words, had a company offered to partner with me. They were like, look, I don't do chip repairs and you don't install windshields, so since I install windshields and you do chip repairs, let's partner up and get a place. And because they were working out of their home just like I do, and they're mobile just like I am, and they were like, let's get a place together and you can do the chip repairs and I'll do the windshields installs. And I was like, well, why would we need a place? And if I'm still going to only be doing chip repairs and you're only going to be doing installs, why do we need to partner up? We can just refer each other, you know. If somebody needs a windshield, I can refer them to you, and if somebody needs a chip repair, you can refer them to me. We can work it that way. And they didn't want to do that. They wanted to get a shop because, see, they need to be able to store glass, but they can't afford to rent a shop on their own, so they need to be able to store certain pieces of glass so they have it on hand when somebody pulls in to get a replacement done. Well, I'm mobile. I go to my customers and I don't need to store anything. So basically what they were doing, they were trying to convince me that it would be such a great deal, but they wanted me to go in halves with them on the rent. And I finally told them, I was like, dude, I'm never going to be there. Why would I want to go in halves with you on rent on a building when I'm never going to be there? I'm always going to be out and about. And he's like, well, you could, you know, park your bike there or whatever. Well, then how am I going to get home? You know, it's just ironic to me how some people will try to con you. Alright, now this one you're still going to see that white spot in the middle. And I told him that because there's a lot of glass missing from that one. So he's still going to see that little white spot when I scrape the resin off. And as you can see, there's a pretty big chunk of glass missing. So when I scrape the resin off, it's going to leave a white spot. It's going to look like a bug splatter, and I let him know that, so he wouldn't be concerned about it. All in all, that's a beautiful repair though. And I do get a lot of easy repairs like this. I just don't film them because they're so abundant. You know, I get so many simple repairs. I try to only film the difficult ones, because it's the difficult ones that really test your skill level and your abilities. You know, well, skill and abilities are about the same thing. They test your patience, and I don't have very much patience. I get a little upset when things aren't working correctly. But like I said, somebody commented that they said, I really want to keep watching your videos, but your frustration is getting to me. And I commented back and I said, 90% of the time I'm not frustrated. Which is true. I mean, yeah, there's going to be times where I have windshield chips that just frustrate the hell out of me. But that's reality. That's just part of the reality of doing windshield repairs. You're going to have times where you're just frustrated, and I'm not the kind of person that hides the truth of things, and I'm not just going to post videos of doing perfect repairs all the time, because that is so fake. Now yes, 99% of my chip repairs come out beautifully, but about 1% of them I either can't get them to take resin, or they just, for some reason, just don't look good when I'm done, you know. And it's all about being honest and being straightforward and just being who I am. I'm not an actor. I'm not going to act like everything is perfect all the time. But like I said, 99% of the time my repairs come out beautiful, and you'll very rarely see me get frustrated. Now, here's what's funny though. Those videos where I got frustrated got more views than any other video on my channel so far. they have the most views, because people love drama. And sure, I could dramatize it, and I could make this channel all about the drama and the difficulty and the frustration and everything. I'd get thousands of views. But I don't want to do that. Seems to me like YouTube is becoming the place for drama. It really is. There's more drama, and I've noticed videos that I watch where they're getting great views and things like that, but then suddenly they'll come out with a drama video, and the drama video gets so many views, and then it just seems like that's all they want to do after that is you know, they'll make a couple of decent videos, and then the next video will just be drama, you know. And it really drives me insane. It's because they know drama sells. Drama gets views. And I'm just not that person. I'm not going to dramatize my whole channel just for views, because that's just acting. And I'm not an actor. And I don't get paid to act. I get paid to do windshield repairs and to do a good job. That's what I get paid to do. So yeah, it looks like a bug splatter now. Still going to see that white spot in the middle, but it's not terrible. It's not terrible. Get this mirror. Yeah, you're still going to see that white spot, but that's okay. Just a spot. He's got fingerprints all over the inside of his windshield for some reason. Alright, that white spot is actually not terrible at all. I thought it was going to be worse than that, but we're lucky that it's not. Beautiful truck, by the way. I love that color of blue. Alright, ladies and germs, that's it. Let me get my stuff put away here. You notice I'm always putting stuff away and organizing, because I want to make sure everything is organized where it needs to be for the next job. Alright, that's it, ladies and germs. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. I hope you have a good one. Hit the subscribe button, click the like button, share the video, and throw me some love. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you.